Here is how it worked, according to Lori Vallow. Dark spirits were people who signed contracts with Satan before they got to Earth. Light spirits were people who signed contracts with Jesus before they got to Earth. And if you believe that, I have some property for you in Florida, Central Florida, Everglades. But a lot of people believed it, a lot. Lori, hook, line, and sinker. In fact, everything she did seemed to relate to these dark spirits and light spirits. Only problem was, 4 people who were very close to her were conveniently dark spirits. 4 people who were kind of in her way from having her sexy affair with her cult leader. That would be her husband, that would be his wife, and that would be her 2 kids, and they all ended up dead. 4 other people, well, one of them was shot at, but he survived. And then 2 others, her dad and her brother, they're not even in court to support her. But basically 8 people in her orb she considered dark spirits, and they were all people getting in the way of this love affair with Chad, and then her plan to be part of the 144 that gets saved and whatever, all the rest. So it is awful when you tell all this stuff to your best friend, and then your best friend shows up in your triple murder trial, which is exactly what happened today with Melanie Gibb. And Lauren Matthias was there. She's the host of the Hidden True Crime podcast. And Gigi McKelvey was there. She's the host of the Pretty Lies and Alibis podcast. And they are both here now. Okay, ladies, this is the first time that these 2 former best friends laid eyes on each other since all of this awfulness. So take me into the awkward and, like, give me everything. What the jury was saying, what the jury was doing, what Lori was looking like, whether they were boring holes through each other. Take me there.
Yeah, they were definitely boring holes through each other. In fact, we were talking about this earlier today, and you said it looked like a high school sort of like a feud, and they came back together. Yeah. I loved how you described it.
It was just Lori standing there with her arms crossed, and she watched Melanie Gibb from the time she breached that doorway and just kind of looked her up and down as she walked and got sworn in and got up on the stand. And they would take turns looking at each other. A couple of times their eyes would meet, and then they would quickly look away. It was so awkward. It was like being back in high school again.
Yeah, and there were definitely the pouts from Lori again, too. Yeah.
Oh, the pouts. I'm glad you told me, because, you know, for a while we were hearing she was looking down a lot. She would, you know, awkwardly try to write, etc. I'm super curious about how the jury is digesting all of the things that Melanie Gibb basically just mic dropped today. It was a lot of weird stuff. The dark spirits, the light spirits, who was becoming a dark spirit. And then eventually that would morph into being a zombie and needed to die. I'm super curious about the Tammy piece, though. Because today, I think for the first time, I heard that Melanie Gibb said Lori, 2 weeks before Tammy died, suggested she was a dark spirit, which was very coincidental that 2 weeks before she died, she was becoming suspicious of the affair her husband was having with Lori. So, ladies, this could not have been lost on the jury.
No, I don't think a lot was lost on the jury because they were so intently listening. I think a lot of people from the public were looking, wondering what they were thinking, because during jury deliberation, when they were choosing, it was very clear they did not know a lot about this case. I mean, that was their biggest thing, is making sure that they did not know about this case. So I can't imagine what was going through their minds, but they were not bored. They were listening intently, and I think they couldn't believe what they were hearing.
Ashley, the progression of the looks on their faces, they came in fresh-faced with their little notebooks and their pencils, and about 5 minutes into Melanie Gibb's testimony, it was like everything was written all over their face. There was shock. There was disgust. It was people that were just perplexed. It's not funny, but just, you can tell this jury does not know this case just by the way they looked. And then when it came out that Alex Cox shot Charles Vallow, they were, I mean, mouths kind of flew open. So it was a big day for this jury. I'm sure they're home, like, taking a relaxing bath because they got overloaded today.
Yes.
It was a lot. How about this part where Melanie told the court that Lori confided in her that she was in a hurry to move up to Idaho where her lover, cult leader, lived, but was frustrated that Tammy wasn't dead yet and should be dead by now. I mean, that's just, almost feels like it's like the biggest mic drop of the day.
Yeah, exactly. So there was the thought that Chad was telling Lori that Tammy would die in a car accident. That was the plan, and that he'd been telling her that he always knew his life had two parts, and that one part was with his wife Tammy, and he could not get divorced because he wouldn't be exalted. But she was going to die, and he knew it was going to be soon. It was likely going to be a car accident, and then it wasn't a car accident. And here's Lori just waiting impatiently in Arizona for this spouse to die so she can go and be with her cult leader.
Yeah, the jury
I don't know.
I mean, it was
Go ahead,
bombshell
guys.
after bombshell for them because it's been, you know, the worst day obviously was when we saw the kids' bodies on that big screen. But today, just hearing that new element introduced of this radical, it's not even a religion, it's a band of misfits that just believed really dumb stuff. But unfortunately, we have 4 bodies. And I think today the jury really started seeing the dots put together of why we're here.
Yes.
It's a lot for them. I mean, it's a lot for the 3 of us, and we've been following this for 4 years, and I still get reminded of things that I've forgotten and connections and ties that just, you know, eluded me. So for them to have to digest all of this, and it's only day 4, it's a lot. I wanted to play something, and I don't know if they've heard it yet. You'll have to tell me afterwards if the jury has heard this yet or if you think they're going to hear it. But it is this religious meeting that Lori was at. And it was secretly recorded, but she was just pontificating for 45 minutes about just the stuff you just said, just absolute garbage. But in there was a gem, and that was that she talked about how she was looking for, you know, biblical ways to legitimize murdering her 4th husband, Joseph Ryan. So I'm going to play that. I'm going to ask you guys about it afterwards. Take a listen.
There's a turning point in my life that turned me to the temple. And this is what I teach everybody. And my change of heart was to the temple. So I had been married to someone who was very awful, who raped my children. And I had divorced him and gotten away from him. And he had joined the church. He spoke in state conference. Everyone thought he was wonderful. He was very good showman of all those things. And after we were divorced, he told everybody that I was this lying, crazy Mormon, and got up in court and said all these horrible things about me, and turned it around to where the judges believed him instead of me. And he was constantly trying to get custody of my 3-year-old daughter, and just to rub it in my face. And I went through a lot of years of this kind of hard stuff, and I was going to murder him. I was going to kill him, like the scriptures say, like Nephi killed him, just to stop the pain and to stop him coming after me and to stop him coming after my children. And I just felt I couldn't take it anymore. And I would go through the scriptures and find all the things, like, if he comes against you once, if he comes against you twice, if he comes against you 3 times, then you can kill him. It says it in the scriptures, and more of it. I was like, there it is, there's my answer.
Well, since we're in the mood to count, I said Joe Ryan was husband 4. It was husband 3. There's a lot of husbands, 5 in total. But guys, real quickly, I got to wrap it up. But Melanie Gibb seemed to tell this jury and this courtroom that she really started to see a pattern, and that it was a really awful pattern.
Yes, absolutely. And they haven't played this yet. And Gigi and I have both wondered together if they're going to play this, because it's fascinating. But I think the one thing what you just played shows is how Lori functions. She's saying, I'm either going to kill my husband or I'm going to go to the temple. Either or here. You know, these 2 extremes, and I've got to figure this out. We're seeing who Lori is.
Yeah, Gigi, do you get a sense that the jury's seen the pattern too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tell you, Ashley, it's not funny, but their faces today, I mean, it was meme-worthy. If I could get a GIF that would accurately represent their faces, they were just blown away. And I think they're just we haven't even scratched the surface yet, unfortunately.
Well, you guys are doing an amazing job. The coverage, like moment by moment, tweeting it all out. You guys have just done such an incredible... You're taking us in there, so thank you, because the judge won't let us in. So Lauren Mathias, Gigi McKelvey, I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.